Hello, guys, and welcome back to Small Talk. Just a quick market weekly review today and what to expect going into next week. First thing first, there has been so much drama going on in past 2 to 3 days. It has been a roller coaster ride in the stock market. It was Fed cut, and then there was probability there will be no Fed cut because there was dovish Fed, and then there is not so dovish Fed, and Fed is not giving us a clear signal whether they are doing a rate cut or not, and too much drama going on within the Fed members and Donald Trump. And I'm sure you've read all that news. That I don't think I need to go over that, but today, obviously, the stock market was rallying again Friday or yesterday, the stock market dropped because the whole market was afraid after Jerome Powell spoke and Donald Trump spoke, thinking that maybe Federal Reserve is kind of giving us a hint that they're not going to do a rate cut after they saw the job reports. But today, after another report came out, I forgot what report that was, and the stock rallied after in the afternoon. Yesterday, when the stock market dropped, I was talking to my friend. I said to her, if I had the money to buy more Tesla, it's a quick $25 profit, 25 to 30 bucks profit within the day. And but I don't have any more cash to buy Tesla. And she said she had the money. She was like, well, no, that's going to ruin my average, and she didn't buy it. So this afternoon, actually, when Tesla ran all the way up to $440, I said to her, did you buy Tesla? And she was like, no, I didn't want to ruin my average. And I said to her, who cares? You're still making money on all the shares that you're buying. It's like literally instant profit of $25 per share, even if you bought it this morning. But anyways, I don't have a membership fee or anything like that to give you these kind of alerts. If you just watch my videos, I can record a video first thing in the morning and tell you what I'm buying, what's selling, and what to expect in the market. But I have to have enough followers in order for me to make that extra effort. So I only give those kind of alerts to my friends who actually trade with me. But anyway, that's besides the point. I don't charge any money for that. But this afternoon, stock market rallied after they had a breath of air, thinking that there's a more probability of two more rate cuts at the end of the year. The main reason of the expectation of two more rate cut is the cooling labor market, whereas the inflation still stays higher, and Fed has to cut the rate in order for them to avoid a possible recession, which I don't think there's going to be a recession. However, Jerome is a little too late. They should have cut these rates earlier. They're 2 to 3 rate cuts behind. Therefore, stock market is anticipating and pricing in not just 25 basis point rate cuts, but rather more aggressive rate cuts in the coming month. So they're expecting one more rate cut in October and the last one in December, but they're expecting that it may be higher than 25 basis points after the data comes, because market thinks, and I am with the market, that Jerome Powell is a little behind on the rate cuts and he should cut more aggressively. But I understand his position too, because as I mentioned in my previous video, the housing market was the hottest in the last CPI report. The shelter and housing was more expensive, and if he cut the rate very aggressively in the first month or first 2 months, that would obviously cause more housing inflation. And the reason being is the science or the reason behind it is because when the Fed cuts rates, there's more, the more people want to borrow money from the banks because the interest rates are lower. There are more sales on the house, more people are buying house, and as a result, there is higher demand, less supply. The prices of housing goes up, which will cause more inflation, and that's what Fed doesn't want. But having said that, I think they should still do, at least next month, they should do 50 basis points and then do 25 maybe after that. So they need to have at least one larger rate cut, in my opinion. That way they can maybe catch up a little, and then maybe they can sit back and monitor how the housing market reacts and then decide after that. Anyways, now let's talk about Tesla. Tesla dropped yesterday. As we all know, the interest rates largely impact Tesla and some of these large companies, Tesla, NVDA, Google, Palantir, all these Mega 7 and some of the tech companies as well, because those CEOs need to know that they have cheap money available to them in order for them to borrow the money to run their business. And when there is uncertainty in the market, whether Fed is going to cut the rate and they're not going to cut the rate, or now they're dovish and now they're hawkish, that kind of puts the stock into very vulnerable position, and investors like to pull their money out instantly because they do this in case there's a pullback and there is no rate cut. Then the stock is most likely going to collapse, and when it collapses they can go ahead and buy it cheaper at that point, but in the meantime they can lock some profit. So that's exactly what happened yesterday after Jerome Powell spoke. Market thought that there's going to be no rate cut because Jerome Powell did not give us a clear direction whether he's doing 2 more rate cuts by the end of the year or not. And therefore the Tesla stock dropped significantly. It was painful to watch because my largest position in my portfolio is Tesla, and when Tesla moves down, it's a bloodbath for my portfolio. But this morning, obviously, the momentum picked up again, and the reason is not just the Fed rate cut, but Deutsche Bank has raised their price target from 345 to 435. Also, Wedbush also raised their prices from $500 to $600 for Tesla. That's very aggressive price target for Tesla. And is 600 possible? Absolutely. As you know, I've been saying that Tesla is going to have 400 to 450 by the end of the year, but that was before Elon Musk bought back $100 billion worth of shares. So once he bought the $100 billion, my next price target is $500 by the end of the year. And I think that is very well going to happen. It's definitely, 450 is definite, but 500 is absolutely possible. Whether 600 is possible by the end of the year or not, that's a question, which is like 50-50 chance. And there's a reason why I say this. Deutsche Bank, when they gave their price target, they were looking at the 20%. They were looking at, the Q3 deliveries that they're tracking, and they're expecting it at least 461,500 deliveries for the third quarter, even though they're flat year over year, but they're 20% higher compared to the previous quarter. Also, the Model Y introduction in China raised the deliveries, and the Tesla pre-booking before the end of tax credit in September, that they are tracking that the deliveries are going to be much higher compared to 433,000 deliveries that were estimated by the stock market analyst for the third quarter. So if and when, which I hope that Tesla does 461,500 deliveries, which is way above the expectation of the market analyst, which is 433,000 deliveries. That is going to make this stock run. Also, Deutsche Bank said that now going forward, Tesla's humanoid robot and their robotaxi puts it way ahead of the other AI competitors in the market, which is going to make Tesla worth a lot of money, and that's why they raised the price target to $435 and $600 altogether. So they also said the Q4 margin and earning per share be impacted by lower volume and potentially higher tariff cost. We all know the volume has been pretty low for Tesla, except for EV sales in China and also the pre-tax. And there has been booking for the Tesla, but in Q4 there's going to be low volume because the tax credit ends. Also, there's going to be tariff impact, which is going to impact Q4 margin and earning per share for Tesla. And they could have probably given a higher price target for Tesla going into 2026, but they're keeping it conservative for now because there are some catalysts that are coming up in the fourth quarter, unless Elon Musk announces a rate cut in his, price cut in his Tesla, which I don't think they can do a $7,500 price cut, but they might still do some price cut going into fourth quarter. Though Europe sale has been declining and it hasn't been doing as well, but Deutsche Bank is of the opinion that the China market and North American market will make up for the declining sales in Europe. And the sales are declining in Europe because of the lack of advertisement, and there's a competition in Europe, which is why they are not able to sell more Teslas in Europe. So anyways, going into next week, I'm very bullish on Tesla because Q3 deliveries are going to be announced next week. And if the deliveries are what Deutsche Bank has expected, 400 above 433,000 deliveries, that is going to make Sky go, go parabolic. 450 is the next stop, which is not too far away. It's at, sorry, yeah, 450. It's at 4, close at 440 today. So, and then it can keep going until the third quarter earnings, which is going to take place sometime next month in November. I don't have the date. I don't remember the date. Our next FOMC meeting is coming up in November as well. Sorry, October. I don't know why I'm saying November. I'm just way ahead. Anyways, so they have third quarter earning reports next month. We also have our CPI and PPI report coming up next month, and then Fed will decide whether they're going to cut rates. If the rate is cut and Q3 deliveries beat expectation, and earning reports are going to be good because of the deliveries and pre-booking, I think Tesla stock very well could go to 500 very easily, not a problem, because we know Tesla stock runs 20 to 30 bucks in a day. Once the good news comes out, people get very excited about Tesla. Now let's talk about some of the small caps. Small cap stocks were going parabolic 2 weeks ago, but now they're running up to 100, 200%, which is still pretty good, but it's less than 2,500, 3,000, percent stock. You put any AI with any name in the stock market and that stock will run. Also, recently we have seen that any company that does invest into Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the cryptocurrency, those stocks will run multiple $100 in one day, which is crazy. You can make lots of money, and you could make or break your bank by trading those stocks. So be very mindful and very careful. But there are people who grow their wealth by trading these stocks, and then they take the profits and gains from these stocks that are very volatile, and they put into good quality stocks like NVDA, Palantir, Tesla, Apple, Google, Meta, all these good companies. What's going on with Apple? I think Apple is going to keep going. I also heard a news. I haven't had a chance to look into the detailed information that they are incorporating AI into their Siri, I guess. But we're not. I have to read deep into the news and make maybe a separate video on Apple if they're doing this. Which, if you have watched my video from 2 or 3 months ago, I've been saying Apple has been sitting on the side drinking soup while everybody else was on this run, to compete with, with AI, but Apple has not done anything yet. Can they catch up? Yes, absolutely. They have the skills and potential to do so, but they have to at least initiate it first and then maybe go on a treadmill and, catch up with all the other companies. And I think that's what they realize. And now they are incorporating AI into their Siri. I'll read all the details and I'll make a separate video on this. So I think, in my opinion, Apple is a buy right now. I was reading comments on one of my previous video that I made on NVIDIA, and I said my price target for NVIDIA for the end of the year is $245, I believe I said, or 240. It was right after NVIDIA had announced $100 billion investment in something. And one of the guy commented, because next day the stock dropped to $173, and the guy was so mad. He said to me, well, the stock is down to $173. Who is paying you to lie to us? And I was like, dude, do you even watch my videos? My target is for the end of the year. Yesterday it went to $184 from 173. Today it's back to 173. It was expected. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. There's a news that comes up, people buy in because they want to trade, they make quick money, and that's exactly what they did. But there are investors who will buy into these news and they will hold the stock. So you have to give it 3 months, 4 months at least in order for it to reach to $245. That I'm still sticking to my price target. I think if nothing disastrous take place, I think NVIDIA is going to go to $240 by the end of the year. That's my price target. There's never a guarantee. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But in my personal opinion, if I look at all the investments that they made, all the contracts that they've secured, and they're way ahead of every other company when it comes to chip making, I think they have very well potential to go to $245 by the end of the year. We have a long way to go. 3 months is a long time. A lot could happen in 3 months in the stock market. So be patient. You don't become rich overnight. If you lost money, I'm sorry. I didn't say to that it's going to go to $245 tomorrow morning. I said by the end of the year. So listen to my videos, and it's not a personalized financial advice. Obviously, I make this video as a generalized information, you can obviously do your own due diligence. If you don't have risk tolerance, maybe you shouldn't put your money into these volatile stocks, because even though NVIDIA and Palantir are good quality stocks, but they're still at a very initial stages of their business, and they are going to be pretty volatile whether you like it or not, because people still have not built faith into these, except for some of the very well educated people who understand what these companies are doing. The rest of them are still very speculative about these companies, and they're not 100% sure if they should hold these long term. But in my opinion, these are the stocks that you can hold for next 5 to 10 years and retire very easily. You can obviously dollar cost average as you go along, depending on which direction stock moves. But these small pullbacks and small runs are going to continue for a long time, and these stocks are going to be pretty volatile. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla is not a new company, but there are still people who are very skeptical about Tesla. They still don't believe that it's a good quality company. That includes my husband. He doesn't think Tesla is a good quality company. He never invests in Tesla. No matter how much it runs, I begged him, just buy 10 shares, and he won't do it. So there are people who are still very skeptical, but you have to know what you're holding. You have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence and make sure that you understand the business model and you're willing to take the calculated risk based off of your own financial situation. So, but Palantir is going to go to, I think, and I hope, $245 by the end of the year. Sorry, not Palantir, NVIDIA. Palantir, I would love to see 200 on Palantir, but it could go much higher because Palantir is also running as fast as NVIDIA is. But as I said, so many people still don't understand their business model. We are at a very basic level of artificial intelligence right now, and so many people don't understand. I was actually listening to a podcast a few days ago, and somebody said, you read 10 books on AI, you're way ahead of 90% of the people. You're in the top 10%, and that's correct. You pick up 10 books which talk about AI and you learn about what AI does, and you can do some basic functions. You are 90%, you're better than 90% of the people in the world right now. You are probably the AI engineer that people can look up to. So as I said, we have a long way to go, and people are going to be skeptical, but I think AI is the future. It's coming pretty fast, and NVIDIA and Palantir are going to grow very fast, and NVIDIA, I have no doubt that could very well reach $245 by the end of the year. So going into next week, what am I doing? I'm holding my Tesla with the hopes that Q3 deliveries come above the expectation. Expectations are 433,000 deliveries, and as Deutsche Bank predicted that it could go to 461,000 because I guess they're tracking it somehow. That is going to give Tesla stock a boost. NVIDIA has been in the news lately, and NVIDIA is kind of keep going. There's going to be small pullbacks, and I said the volatility is going to be there. You can day trade, swing trade, and you can also have long term position in NVIDIA. So you can have multiple accounts. You can have long term, and then you can do your swing trade and day trade. Both will make you money, and they will make you rich. The other stock I want to talk about is Uber. Uber has finally touched $100 mark. I would talk about Uber because my husband holds a lot of shares of Uber. And the reason being is not because he bought Uber, is because he worked for Uber and they gave him a large equity in Uber. And he's been holding it for the last 4 years. And he's a rich man now. But I like to look at it because if he's rich, I'm ultimately rich anyway, because in my culture, his money is my money. So anyways, Uber has finally touched $100 mark. If you recall it, I made a video about 2 months ago, and Uber stock was at $68, and I said Uber is at a buying point, and from this point onward it's going to keep going, and that's exactly what happened. My first price target was $98. It has beat that. It hovered over $98 for like a little while, then finally it touched $100 last week, and now it's hovering over between $98 to $99 again. And the reason being why it touched $100 is because it signed a contract with Israeli company, which is a drone company, and they are going to partner together to have Uber Eats deliveries via drones, which is going to be a next level, next leap forward for Uber as far as the technology is concerned. So instead of having drivers take the food to the Uber Eats deliveries is going to be drone. They're going to deliver the Uber Eats deliveries, which is going to make it more efficient, and there's going to be less chance of messing up the orders. And that's why the Uber stock ran and they finally touched $100. So they always have something going on in the pipeline. They keep adding things because they understand the competition is there, especially with the robo taxi and everything. They just cannot totally rely on their Uber ride services. They have to incorporate other aspects of the business into their business model, and that's how they're going to stay competitive with all the other companies, because ride hailing is just not enough at this point, because with the robo taxis and FSDs, I'm sure it's going to have a big impact on the business. And that's why they signed a very big deal with Lucid as well, because they want to have their own fleet of vehicles which they're going to own, and they're going to be FSD, so instead of a driver driving it. So they're trying to compete with BYD, Tesla, NIO, all these EV companies. So that's why, since they're announcing something new every so often, that's why people like Uber, and I think that's going to make you very rich as well. If you buy Uber, well, let it pull back a little. I'm sure this is going to pull back a little bit. No guarantee, and not a personal financial advice, but I would say wait for it to pull back a little, maybe $89, $90, and then buy back in, and just keep it for next couple of years, and this will make you a decent amount of money as well. There are some small cap mid cap stocks that I buy and I swing trade them. For example, QBTS, QUBT. These are quantum stocks. QUBTS, Pony AI, BBAI. These are Archer Aviation, APLD is like Applied Digital. I think that's what the company is. I just know the ticker symbols because I trade them so often. These are some of the stocks these are some of the companies which could make you a good amount of money every week at least. You can day trade them or you can swing trade them. You can look at all these companies and see which ones are moving. And even if they're not moving, and let's say QBTS has dropped like 10%, good time to buy. It's going to go up 10%, maybe not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, sometime this week or next week. So it's a good trading strategy, in my opinion, pretty safe too, because those small cap, the dollar penny stocks, or stock over $1 or under $5, they're good, but they're very dangerous, very high risk. So those give me lots of anxiety. So I have I'm trying to refrain from those. But these stocks, they're not under $5, but they're not very expensive. And they don't move like the penny stocks move, but they still make you a decent amount of money within a week. So you can, swing trade them, buy them, hold them for a few days, and then sell them once you make 10-15% profit. That's very good return on these stocks. So I've been doing that as well. Not a personalized financial advice, but you can do that as well if you are not a high risk taker and you don't have risk tolerance. I did have risk tolerance, but now I'm so scared because with my risk tolerance, I have done some pretty big damage to my portfolio, and I just don't want to lose any more money. But anyways, so that's that. I'm still holding Tesla. My husband is still holding Uber. Bitcoin. My gosh, I forgot about it. Bitcoin, for goodness sake, it dropped from $120,000 to below $108,000 today. If it goes below 100K, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin. Fingers crossed. Don't hate me if you own Bitcoin. I know you want it to go up, but trust me, it will go up. When it goes down, it will pick up people like me who feel like they're missing out. When we buy in, the people who missed the train, it's going to put an upward pressure and it's going to run again. It's going to go parabolic again. So don't hate me if you already own Bitcoin, because we need to buy Bitcoin as well and make some money off of it. Because I feel like fiat currency is living at the beginning of the end of its life, and whether it's going to take 5 years or 10 years, fiat currency is going to be gone, and Bitcoin is going to be our safe haven at the time, and everybody should own at least 10% of their portfolio as Bitcoin. I don't endorse other cryptocurrencies because I don't think they have the same characteristics of Bitcoin. I think the other currencies, can you make some money off of them? Absolutely, while the momentum is there. For example, Ethereum is very hot these days. You can buy Ethereum and trade it and make some money, but I don't know if I want to hold it for like next 10 years. Bitcoin I can hold for next 10, 20 years if I'm alive by then, because it has characteristics of sound money. It has it's very finite, and I think it's going to go up in value, and a time is going to come when that's going to be the only medium of exchange among everybody. Fiat currency is going to be gone. Can Ethereum do this? It's a possibility, but I think every other coin but Bitcoin is more like stable coins, and their characteristics are very different from Bitcoin. Those coins, stable coins, are designed to make people rich who actually introduce them. They could dump them anytime on you and just make a money, and then now you're left with holding the bag. Can Bitcoin do this too? It's like very difficult to do, but could it happen? Absolutely. Anything is possible, but I still want to hope. I think I still want to endorse Bitcoin, because I don't think anybody is going to do this. Anybody is going to be able to do it. The best way to hold Bitcoin is to put it in cold storage and put it away. Because if you buy them on this Coinbase and all these, add them to your portfolio, somebody hacks into their system, your portfolio can be emptied out, and now you're lost. You've lost all your money. It has happened to me before. But if you have it in cold storage, put it away for the next 5 years, 10 years, and forget about it. I can almost promise that you will thank me later. So once it drops below 100K, I'm gonna buy, and I think you should too. Not a personalized financial advice, obviously. Make sure you know your own finances and make choices and decisions according to your own finances. So that was my upgrade. That's what I'm doing going forward. I hope this video helped. Please give my video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share your comments in the comment section below. If you don't understand what I'm blabbing about and you think it's all fluff, that's okay. It could be, but trust me, I read lots of news. I may be very bad at recording videos because I'm very bad at taking notes, and then sometimes I forget the numbers, so I mix up the dates and numbers, but forgive me for those. But please give my video a thumbs up. Until next one, take care, have a nice weekend, go out and make some money and be safe.